Good morning all. Myself Niti Patel, first year MTech student of Computer Engineering branch of KJ Somaiya College of Engineering, is presenting the details of topic TMN architecture for the course Network Design and Management. The presentation includes the topic like what is TMN, relationship of TMN to telecommunication network, TMN architecture, the architecture divided into three parts: functional architecture, physical architecture, information architecture, followed by the revision of the topic. What is TMN? A TMN is a telecommunication management network, which is a protocol model for communication between operating system and network elements. It uses the Common Management Information Protocol defined by ITU-T for managing open systems in communication network. Now, what do you mean by Common Management Information Protocol? It is a protocol for the network management that defines the services for accessing information about network objects and devices, and also controlling these objects and devices and receiving the status report of them. A TMN is based on OSI management principles. It provides a framework for achieving interconnectivity and communication across heterogeneous operation systems and telecommunication network. So we define that the main goal of TMN network is to create and identify the standard interfaces that would allow a network to be managed consistently across all network element suppliers. To achieve this, the TMN defines different set of interface points for elements which perform the actual communication processing to access the elements such as the workstations and to monitor and control these workstations. So it is a framework that addresses not only the network elements but also manages the network. It also manages the services and also looks after the business management. Now, let us see the relationship of TMN to a telecommunication network shown in the diagram below. According to the figure, the interface point between TMN and telecommunication networks are formed by the exchanges and the transmission system. For the purpose of management, these exchanges and transmission systems are connected via a data communication network to one or more operating systems. The operating systems perform major of the management functions. These functions are carried out by the human operators, or they can be managed automatically as well. It is also possible that a single management function will be performed by multiple operating systems. In this case, a data communication network is used as exchange of information between the operating systems. That means if an operating system wants to communicate with other operating system, all the communication goes via the data communication network. The same concept is used between the communication of operating systems and the workstations. The communication between these two systems are carried via a communication network. Thus, the data communication network is used to connect the workstation, which allows the operator to interpret the management information. Next comes the TMN architecture. The TMN architecture is further divided into three sub-modules: the functional architecture, physical architecture, and information architecture. For a brief, the functional architecture identifies the functional modules or the blocks in the TMN environment, including the reference points between them. The physical architecture defines the physical blocks and interfaces between them. And the last, information architecture, exchanges the information between the objects and the management system. So now let us look into all these three sub-modules in detail. The functional architecture. As said, the functional architecture identifies the functional modules or the different blocks including the reference point. So the functional architecture is divided into 5 functional blocks: the mediation function, network element function, operating system function, queue adapter function, and workstation function. Let us look into each of these function blocks in detail. The TMN mediation function. The TMN mediation function block addresses the operations performed on the information content, passing the information between the different subcomponents of the architecture. These operations includes filtering of the data, storing the data, forwarding of the data, protocol conversion of the protocols that is being used for communicating, and the threshold detection. TMN network element function. The network element function is concerned with the network elements and the management of these elements. The network element includes any hardware, software, or any of the system operations such as hubs, switches, routers, processors, etc. that are involved in communication from one end to another end. It provides the information about the number of the packets that are dropped, number of the collision that has been occurred, and the rate at which the collision has occurred. Next, the TMN operation function system. The TMN operation system function is implemented in the operating systems for different types of operating systems such as network transmission operating system and the traffic measurement operating system. The network transmission operating system looks behind the transmission of data between the different networking devices, and the traffic measurement operating systems looks after the traffic that is being followed by transmitting the data from one network device to another network device. Thus, both of these operating systems helps to monitor, manage, and control the telecommunication network and its services. The last two functions are the workstation function and queue adapter function. The workstation function provides the interface between the human activities and the TMN activities, whereas the queue adapter function is similar to the proxy server. So the function architecture includes the modules like OSF, that is operating system function, MF, that is mediation function, NEF, that is the network element function, QAF, that is queue adapter function, and WS, that is workstation function. Now each functional block contains the set of the functions. There are multiple instances for each of the functions. For example, there may be many operating systems performing different operations in different operating systems. The communication between these functional blocks itself is a function defined by the data communication function. So the functional blocks are connected with the interfaces that are designated by X, Q3, QX, and F. So these are the interfaces between the different operational function blocks. The interface X is used to communicate between the two operating system functions. The function Q, which includes Q3 and QX, is a point interface to management application function, and the function F is an interface between the workstation function and the mediation function. So there are three interfaces, that is X, Q, and F, with respect to different functional blocks in the functional architecture. Now let us see the physical architecture. The physical architecture shows how the functional blocks should map upon the building blocks. Now these are the functional blocks: operating system function, mediation function, queue adapter function, network element function, and workstations. So this physical architecture defines that how these functional blocks can act as a building blocks upon the physical equipment. So we term the data communication network as a physical equipment upon these functional blocks, where the functional elements like network elements, queue adapter function, the mediation devices and the workstations are connected via a data communication network which enables the operation system to communicate with the other operation system of the other TMN architecture. Information system. The information system or the information architecture shows the exchange of information between the two types of entities. So the two entities involved in information architecture are manager and the agent. The manager performs the operation or asks for the request for perform the operation to the agent. The agent sends the message either in the form of a response or a notification to a manager. The information architecture should transport the information reliability across all the functional boundaries. So there are two types of communication services performed by the information architecture. Those are interactive oriented services and the file oriented services. So let us have a quick revision on all the different architecture of TMN. The functional architecture, which defines various TMN management functions via the 5 submodules. Those were workstation module, the operation system module, the queue adapter module, the network element module, then the physical architecture, which defines how various TMN functions can be implemented into the physical equipment, and last, the information architecture, which defines how the information can be exchanged between the two entities. Thank you.